Hey guys, welcome back to the Poor Investor. You're poor, I'm poor. We're gonna get through this together, right? So today I'm gonna be talking about Raptorium and how I got my final setup all done on the wall and how much I actually made since I've started. So stay with me on this one, guys. Thank you guys for being great subscribers because today is a day to be thankful for, whether with family and friends, and of course, my YouTube family. Today, I'm going to be going over some of the details of what I bought so far to how I put this all together to set up a mining rig. Now, I'm a little upset, and the reason why that is because there's some discounts on some of the things that I've already purchased. One being the CPU that I purchased was a Ryzen 9 5900X. It's like $30 cheaper now at Micro Center. And I'll go through the details of all that because I'm going to pull up my screen. But at the same time, I'm going to show you my rig and how I have it set up and how I actually mounted it on the wall. But before we do that, let's go over some of the things that I have right now and what we're looking at. As far as Raptorium, what is the current price? Is at 0.05. So 5 cents. All right. Let's just leave it at that. 5 cents. Not too bad. I'm actually getting pretty decent hash rate. My average is about 3.09 kilohash per second. Now that's I don't know how to even compare it to anything else because this is the first time I'm doing it and I only have one miner. So right now at 5 cents, and I'll go through what I currently have from the day I started, which was November 23rd. And of course, today is the 25th, which is Thanksgiving in the United States. So let's see what we have as of current. This is my photo that I just recently took, what I've got paid so far, what I have unpaid, and what I have pending. What I realized is this is so easy to do, guys. I mean, it's constant. You have it set up running. I actually have it up and running right now, and I'll probably turn that on just a little bit. This is what I've gotten paid so far: 59 plus the 6 plus the 4. I actually averaged it out. All right. So I want you to stay with me to show what I actually made from the 23rd to the 25th. Now, before I get into that, let's look at what I actually purchased. Now, I went to Micro Center last week, Friday. Yeah, I think last week, Thursday. And I paid $4.99 for this particular processor. Now I want to go back to Micro Center and try to get a cash back on the discount that they had since last week. I hope I could do it. Now, I do have another thing I want to admit here is that I was thinking about building a second one. Let me settle in with this one first, and I'll go through the numbers. I paid $469. Well, actually, I paid $499 plus I had a 256 gig SSD that I already purchased. So this wasn't actually part of the build project price. I actually had it already. So you can include it or not include it, but I'll include it just for the sake of it because that SSD is fairly new as well. And I picked up this 500-watt power supply to go along with it. Now, from Best Buy, because I originally at Micro Center, I bought a 450 motherboard and that was giving me some issues. So I ended up going to Best Buy to pick up, and I still have that 450 motherboard, and that is my reason why I may want to build a second rig for mining Raptorium. And then I went to Best Buy. I picked up a B50 550 for $125 and 16 gigs of RAM. Now that's two pieces of 8, and I'll show you in a little bit. I actually may just split that if I do decide to build out a second rig. So if I build out a second rig, I'll just take one chip from there, and then it'll be the same memory across, and both of them will have 8 gigs. So I think it's more than enough. So if you just do a rough math estimate, now this is the motherboard that I actually picked up from Best Buy. So if you do a rough math, rounding $600 plus the 220, so $820. I actually paid a little more. Let's just say 850 because I paid $499 for the processor opposed to the 469. So that's like a $30 difference. 850 is what I paid for this rig. Now you're asking 850. Wow, that's it's not too bad of a rig. I mean, we're talking about top of the line stuff right now. I mean, the memory could be a little higher, and obviously if you were using this as a primary machine, you probably opt to put more memory and a better video card. Now, I could choose to run this without a video card, but of course I have like a really rundown $40 or $50 card in there right now, just so if I lose connectivity, you know, I can still see the screen. All right, but I can opt to actually just take the video card back out and put it wherever else I need it. So there is no video card in this, and obviously, depending on the type of video card you add into this rig, it'll run way over the $800 mark. If you're planning to do GPU mining, which I find would probably be difficult to utilize all your CPU threads and GPU mine at the same time. I don't know how that works. Maybe you guys will be more familiar with that, but I am not even remotely planning to do that because I can't find any good deals on GPUs. So now CPUs is a hot commodity, and the prices are really decent right now, especially that we're heading in tomorrow is Black Friday. All right, so let me show you guys what I am going to show the full screen right now. All right, so let me pause this. All right, guys, so this is my rig that I set up. I took this blank piece of scrap wood and I just painted it black because it has some extra black paint. Anchored it well to the wall. I had anchors, all 4 anchors behind this. This is the 500 watt power supply. This is the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. And my current hash rate right now, as of right now, is 4.2. So I've noticed that hash rates, depending on the day, will fluctuate crazy amount. And I normally would not have the screen on. I would not touch the mouse because I've heard that, you know, even on Windows, I don't even want to RDP into this thing to even see, because as long as you have your wallet address on the pool's website, you can see the worker that's working, and you can see the activity and your current hash rate, your paid amount, unpaid amount, and everything else, right? So you see your whole wallet information, which I find awesome, right? So like I said earlier, I can opt to remove this video card out of this whole setup, but luckily I didn't do that too soon, because just yesterday I had a blip on my wireless extension. Now mind you, this is on wireless. I don't have wire down here. My office is really limited on what I can do and how I can do it. So I know you guys say, oh, just run a wire, blah blah blah. It's difficult. Trust me, it's really difficult. Unless I run a new internet line, have the cable guys run a hole through this, and I have a dedicated internet, which I may do, depending on how well this mining stuff works out for me. So a final look, I have it all mounted up. So right behind the motherboard, obviously the way I have it mounted, I have the motherboard, I guess they call them like the screws, the gap screws or whatever they call them. I forget what they call them. They are secure. So I used a little drill. I drilled little holes, not too big, and I started screwing them in. And then obviously I started using the regular screws just to mount them on. It's pretty secure on there. It's not going to come off. Great thing about this is that it's generating some heat. Just to show you guys right now, the current temperature in this room is 66 degrees. Humidity is pretty low at 27%. It's this room, if it wasn't for the miners, the farmers, the harvesters, and the Raptorium miner, would probably right now be as cold as the outside temperature, because this room has no insulation. That's bare concrete, and then once over that concrete, it's literally right outside. Let's go back to my setup. All right, so that was a little tour of my setup and how I got it on the wall. So I put some little work in it. Now, this is a 48-hour, but it wasn't a full 48 hours, so I can't account for the time that I took it down, shut it down, took some time to mount it on the wall, set it all up, maybe an hour or two. The amount that I have, which I'm going to show you guys again, I'll come back to my screen, total right now, I averaged it out, right? So 59 plus the 6 and the 4, that's 10, 60, 70, all right? I rounded it up to 70. And so this calculator is RTM to USD, so I have 70. So within the 48 hours, not a full 48 hours, I made $3.76. So if I keep on accumulating that, hopefully it'll take, so with 70 RTMs averaged within the 48 hours, I divided that 3.76 with $3.76 comes out to about $1.88 each day. So if you look back at the Raptorium calculator, based on my processor that I purchased, and I put one here, and this is a great great really calculator. I love the interface and how it actually works out. So it tells me that my average hash rate, therefore your total hash rate across all CPU is 3,557 hash rate. I guess that's around average. That's what I see right now. My average is around 3,000. It tells me that I'm making, which current price of the 0.052, the 5 cents per Raptorium gives an estimated gross daily return of $1.77. And I said 188, right? Divide the amount that I've accrued, divide that by half. So the hash rate probably went up a little bit based on the fact that I'm making more than what the calculator is saying today. But of course, I also said that depending on the time of day, the hash rate shoots up like crazy. And then there's other parts of the day where it's like crazy low. So I don't know how that actually works. So if you calculate what's going on here as far as electricity, my daily return after the cost, and it's an estimated cost, right? But being in New York City is probably a little more, and I'll probably make this a 14 opposed to a 12. But it's dependent on peak, non-peak, off hours, this and that. So we'll average it at 12. We'll leave that alone. So they're saying that $1.41, $1.40. I mean, you can say, okay, that makes sense. And so if I took that in consideration, let's just say I don't take the electricity in consideration. I usually, not yet at least, okay? I like to see, I want to also notice what the gross numbers are. And I did the calculations for that. Now, if I took my $1.88 based on my calculations, not what the calculator told me, based on this, because these are real numbers right now, right? I'm working with my real numbers, not the estimate. So if I took 376, I divided by half, 0.76 divided by 2, it's $1.88. I already took that $1.88 and I said, how long would it take me for me to get back my $850? Now, this is in consideration of nothing ever changing, ever, ever, ever. Obviously, that's never going to happen. The price can go up, the price can go down. But if this stayed flat at what it is now, of course, you would have to keep on averaging it. So if I times the $1.88 by 476, it'll come out to $894. Now, that's more or less around the price that I would do to get back my return on the mining equipment that I have. Now, $894, I said at $850, but of course, I had other items that still has a cost to it, right? I mean, it wasn't free, although maybe some of it was actually. But anyway, it's not free for everyone. So I would take that in consideration. So over a year, more and less, maybe let's just say a year and a half, a year in the first quarter. That's not too bad in consideration if the project keeps on going and it lasts more than what it would be just for the duration of this time, meaning it's just a hype now and then eventually go away. I don't believe so, because GPU mining is getting tougher and tougher each day, and especially with Ethereum coming out with the 2.0, will probably make it more obsolete than anything, right? So what do people do with all these GPUs? I don't know. Gamers might have an ability to buy a good card to play good games now. Who knows, right? CPU, on the other hand, is something that may change the game for a lot of new coins going forward. Not to say that there isn't already capabilities to mine with CPU, which I'm also doing cheap, by the way, just for kicks. I don't have no ambition of it making anything of a return based on the current price and how much electricity I'm using and the equipment. I'm just doing it just for the sake of doing it, because I have a machine that I just have it dormant, but I use that as my primary. And when I'm not using it, I kick up X-Rig and I just let it run. All right. That's running on an i9 actually. So that's pretty much it. This is how much I made every day, $1.88 based on my numbers. Now I did have some downtime in between that. And going forward, I'll probably do some more real numbers, because so far today, on the last 24 hours, this thing has been running and it has not lost any connectivity. So that's a good thing, good way for me to get a better estimate. And look out for me, my next video, if I decide to build a second rig because of all this. All right. I want to thank you guys for being here. And always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.